Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For those who are new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Wanja Waithaka and I am trying to be your business enthusiast. Yes, it's been a while, it's been a minute, excuse o'clock. So I had shot a video, but I didn't like it. Like I didn't feel like I wanted to, even though it's just posting, like it was so like I didn't want to like take a few steps back when in real sense like I wanted to move forward. So I had shot and I was like, you know what, I can't post this. So yeah, I had to go back to square one. Yes. What has been happening since then? So I attended a master class on shares. It was held by some guy called Clarence. He's apparently a finance enthusiast. It was so weird. Yeah. So I went through that class, and some of the things that I also wasn't sure about, like I also got to learn through that class. It was basically worth every cent. So I guess the last episode of Understanding Shares will be coming very soon. Yes, and if you want to, if you feel like I hadn't answered some of the questions that were in my Understanding Shares series, I'll link his Instagram below, or when I figure that out, I'll link his Instagram below so that you can hit him up. Yeah, I think those classes are still going to be offered. I'm not sure, but for me, they were worth every penny. Yes. So what are we going to be talking about today? Today we are going to be doing the registration of a company. This is because I feel like this is an important thing to talk about, because some people would want to register their company, some people would want to start a business and do the whole incorporation stuff, but then they think that this is so much work, I don't want to go through all this. Just starting the process is totally difficult. And today I am here to make your life easier, or just to tell you how life has become easier. Yes. So when did I start this conversation of registering a business? About a year ago. It was 2019. The beginning of 2019. A group of us wanted to register a company, and we didn't really know how to go about it. But then I don't know, somehow, have you ever felt like you're thinking something and then all of a sudden you see it maybe on Twitter or Instagram and you're like, wait, what the hell? Yeah, so that's what happened to me. So during that period, I was just there. Then someone posted on their Instagram that they help people register their companies. And I was like, I just hit them up and I was like, what are your rates? And then they were like, there was a rate for NGOs, and then there was a rate for registering a company. So for registering a company, they were offering to do it for me at 20,000 shillings. Me, I was just shocked. As in, now I like, it was a lot. It was a lot until later I discovered you can actually do this for yourself, and it's at a cheaper price, and that is what I want to take you guys through today. So registering a company. First of all, what is a company? A company is a legal entity that carries out transactions, basically, like biashara too. Yeah. So why would someone want to register a company? Like, why not just do it as an individual? First of all, for credibility issues. A registered company is a separate legal entity from the individual. That means that they are able to enter into contracts, they are able to enter into partnerships, they are able to buy and sell property, they're able to borrow more easily than an individual would have. That's basically why people decide to register their business. For example, there's this competition we entered to, a group of us, and one of the requirements was that you have to be a registered business, or you have to be in the process of registering a business. This, as you can see, like, there's so much emphasis on being a business before entering into a transaction mode. Like, before doing business with someone would rather that you are already an existing business. And it's also good for your brand. It can easily grow, and in case anything happens to you, there is something called continuing perpetuity. Like, if anything happens, if you're not able, the business is still able to continue, the business is still able to grow whether or not you are there. So those are some of the reasons that someone would register their company. There's so much noise, man. Like the birds, yo. Yeah. So how exactly now do we go about this registration process? The ways that you can register your business. First of all, technology has made this way easier because we're able to do this now. We're able to do this online on eCitizen. You have to first have an eCitizen account if you're going to register it online. There is a section that is written business registration, and that is where you start the process. Some of us, if you have done driving school a bit later, some of us needed our eCitizen account to get our PDL, the driving license before the driving license. Yes, so some of us already have existing eCitizen accounts, so it's not that difficult. You just go to the business registration and you start the process, and that is what I am about to explain. The first step of registering your business is doing a name search. What is a name search? A name search is, okay, what do you want to call your company? Why we do the name search is so that you don't have two companies that have the same name. So what if, let's say, Linga Linga company. Oh, hey, the cat. So what if the two Linga Linga? Is that cat stuck? I'm telling you, there's so much background noise. Kanyao! Kanyao! Oh my god. Cats. Anyway. Yeah, that's Mr. Kanyao. Yeah. Anyway. Where were we? I've even lost myself. Oh, let's say we have Linga Linga company. There are two Linga Linga companies. One is being sued for fraud, or yeah, something like that, fraud, right? So this thing will be tangazed everywhere, news. Oh, Linga Linga company, oh, mismanagement of funds, oh, fraud, oh what. But remember, you also have a company called Linga Linga company. What happens when all this is in the news? People will start mistaking for that Linga Linga company for your Linga Linga company. It's bad for business. Your brand, your name has been ruined, and it wasn't you, man. Like, it wasn't your company. So that is why, those are some of the reasons that, or that is one of the reasons that you are supposed to do a name search, so that every business is unique from each other. Yeah? So every business is unique from each other. So when you are doing a name search and a name, like, you get a name that is similar to yours, like when you're doing the name search and then your name has already been taken, every time you continue doing the name search, you have to pay like an extra 50 shillings. So the name search essentially is 150 shillings. But if you find a name that's similar to yours, you have to pay 50 shillings, you have to pay 50 shillings. So best advice, if you want, before you do the name search process, like, you can start by Googling whether that name exists, especially in Kenya, whether that company name exists, so that you don't have to keep on paying 50 shillings, 50 shillings, 50 shillings. So once you go through the name search, generally, they say it takes hours, but generally it takes 2 to 3 days. Yes, so now they will reserve that name for 30 days. So no one can take that name. If after 30 days, someone finds your name and decides to go through the whole registration process, like, too bad for you, like, after 30 days. But within the 30 days, no one can take that name. So it's best that you do the registration process after you have like immediately, like you start that process immediately after you have reserved your name. Yeah, so we have said the name registration is 150 shillings. When you're registering your name, some of the things that you should have in place are your contact details, your passport photo, and a copy of your ID. In soft copy, of course. If you are not a Kenyan, if you don't have your ID, you can use a copy of your passport, and if you're not a Kenyan resident, you can use a copy of your alien card. Yes. So now the second step is filling in, like signing my documents, the statutory documents, and all that. So the first thing is signing the company registration form. The company registration form has details of who the directors are, the physical address, their phone numbers, email, stuff like that. So that is one of the forms that you are going to sign. Not so difficult. And remember, you can register your company as yourself, like a one-man company. Those ones exist. So you don't have to be like 4 or 5 directors. You can be one director who is yourself. Yes. Another document that you are going to sign is something called the Memorandum of Association or Articles of Association. That is kind of like the constitution of your company. So people usually have like 2 options. They will even tell you. You can either do that constitution yourself, get a lawyer to do it for yourself, or you can adapt on articles of associations that are already existing. The beauty with this is that they are not so, like their measures are not so stringent, in that you are allowed to alter your articles of association when need be. For example, all directors should attend a third of the meetings annually. Something like that. Something like that, if it's put in the articles of association, that means that if they don't attend a third of the meetings annually, like they are fined or something like that. That might not be in the adopted articles of association, but you can alter the articles of association and put that measure there. So you can adapt something that is already existing, and as time goes by, you can alter. That means you are allowed you are allowed to change some of the things. Yeah, so that is something that is another document that you will also have to sign and fill. Another document is something called statement of nominal capital. So what this means is your business going to have shares or not? Remember, when I've been talking about shares, I have been saying that shares is the owner, like it's kind of the ownership of a company. When you buy shares, you're buying into the ownership of a company. So if you have shares, for example, if it's going to be distributed to the directors, that means how much, like what percentage or what amount does this director like own in terms of the company, right? Yeah. So a common answer for this is usually ordinary share capital. Basically, ordinary share capital is it's a kind of class of shares that allows you to vote during meetings. You are not exactly like when I was talking about the share series. Remember, I told you you're not entitled to dividend unless the company declares dividend, but you should get dividend. So one of the major characteristics of this class is that you are allowed to vote during meetings. Another class is preference share capital. Now the difference between this and the ordinary share capital is, for preference share capital, you are not allowed to vote during meetings. Yeah. Another thing is it's kind of a bit pricey, but with preference share capital, look at it like preferred. That means when dividends are declared, you are going to be the first one to be paid. Yeah, you are going to be the first one to be paid. In case the company is going under and they need to pay like the people they owe money, the preference share capital are going to be paid before the ordinary class, like the ordinary share capital guys. But then you're not allowed to vote. So that's kind of like a difference. So the most common is ordinary share capital. Yes. So for this one, is just saying, for example, you can even guess numbers, okay? But then, by the way, like if you don't understand some of these things, just get someone who does law or a lawyer to help you basically understand this, so you are not like cooking up numbers and all that. So when you are declaring like now this part for the statement of nominal capital, you could say something like how many shares do you want your company to have? Let's say 10,000 or something like that. If you are 10 guys, if you are 5 guys, if you are 1 person, you can say that you as, okay, let's say me as Grace Wanja is going to own 10,000 shares. Yeah, 10,000 shares. So how much will each share cost? And that is money that you're putting into the business. How much will each share cost? So you can say 1 share is equals to 1 shilling or 2 shillings or 3 shillings. This is up to you. This is you who is dictating that price. So those are kind of the details that you are going to feel when you are talking about statement of nominal capital, right? Yeah. And remember, when you're paying the statement of like when you're doing all this, it's not like you are being forced to pay that amount at that time. You are just saying, this is how much the company is worth right now. So you can be paying slowly, you can be paying slowly, you can be paying slowly, you can be paying slowly. Like eventually you will reach that amount. If anything happens to your company, if your company is going bankrupt, or if people are coming for you, this is what will happen. For example, you said you have 10,000 shares in this company and each share is worth 1 shilling, right? So far, you've only paid 5,000. You paid for 5,000 shares. Remember, you have an outstanding of 5,000 shares. If your company is going bankrupt, like if they want to come for you, they can only come for the 5,000 shillings that's supposed to pay for the 5,000 shares, because that's how much your company is worth. That is why you should register your business. They can't come for anything personal. They can't come for your personal belongings, because you declared that your company is worth 10,000 shares. Each share is equal to 1 shilling, and you've already paid 5,000 shillings. 5,000 is remaining. So that's what they will come for. Just that. That is what we call limited liability. You are limited by the number of unpaid shares. I hope I've passed that message across. Yes. So we've talked about 3 documents. We've talked about the registration form, which talks about who the directors are, their contacts, their address, etc. We have also talked about the memorandum of association or articles of association, which you can get a legal person to draft for you if this is a very specific company that should have very specific rules, like a very specific constitutions. Otherwise, you are allowed to adapt an existing one. And then another thing we've also talked about is the statement of nominal capital. I've given the 2 most common ones. We've talked about the ordinary share capital and we've talked about the preference share capital. And the main difference between these 2 is that for ordinary share capital, you are allowed to vote. This one, you're not allowed to vote. When it comes to being paid, preference share capital are paid first, then the ordinary share capital. Yes. So another document that you may sign is, for example, if one of the directors, if you're more than one of the directors like changes their address or something, like that's a a document that you will need to sign. Yes, so what is the total cost for this particular stage? This particular stage is costing 10,650 shillings. What do you need exactly during this particular stage? You need your PIN certificate and you need your passport photo. So this stage normally takes around, in the website they'll say 3-4 days, but then essentially it takes a week. So in case, the goodness now is, in case you make a mistake in the form, in case you haven't filled anything or you have filled something wrongly, they will get back to you after a week. They'll tell you where you need to correct, and then you can just send the correct form again, which will take another week to be verified, as in like Gava. But basically, it will take the whole process. If you don't make any mistake, the process takes roughly 2 weeks. In total, you have spent 10,800 shillings. It's around 11,000. Even if you round it off to the top, it's 11,000 shillings. If you compare to the other, which was 20,000 shillings, you have saved a whole 9,000 shillings. Another thing, for you to now start operating, for you now to start doing business well, even if you want to go borrow money, if you want to start an account for your company, you will need a KRA PIN for the company. That is something that you can do later. That is something that you don't even need money to register. But yeah, so that one comes later after you've done the whole registration process. And afterwards, you have your statement of incorporation and you are a business in less than a month. But remember, if you don't understand any of these things, you can get someone who understands this legal stuff, but it's not hard. That's what I am trying to tell you. It's not as difficult as it seems. You can do this by yourself. And anyway, it's a learning process. Like, you have to start from somewhere. You start from here, later you understand, oh, by the way, I think I'll need to change this in my articles of association. As you go forward, you learn, and yeah, it's a learning process basically. But remember, before you enter into things, just kind of understand the background, and this is why I am here. Yeah, I am trying to help you just understand, get a brief overview before you enter into something. Yeah, so in total you have spent less than 11,000 shillings registering your business. It shouldn't be so expensive. Yeah. Otherwise, I hope you guys are good. I hope you guys are keeping warm, especially during this cold season. I hope you are keeping yourself busy, or you are resting, or you are just keeping safe. Yes. So if you have enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. And as I said, I always love feedback. So you can reach out to me at Wanja Waithaka on Instagram or Wanja Waithaka on Twitter. Yes. So you guys keep safe. I hope to see you guys next time. Yeah. Bye guys.